I always thought cheating was something that happened to other people, to couples who fought all the time, to marriages that were already broken. Not to us. Not to a couple that had survived moving across states, building a business together, and raising a child. I'm 42. My wife is 39. We've been married for 15 years. Together for almost 18. We met when I was working 2 jobs and she was finishing college. We built everything from scratch. No rich parents. No safety net. Just hard work and trust. Or so I believed. She used to tell everyone I was her rock. The person she could rely on no matter what. I took pride in that. I made being dependable my entire personality. I missed vacations. Skipped parties. Worked weekends. All so she and our son could have stability. I thought sacrifice was love. About a year and a half ago, she started changing in ways that were hard to explain. She wasn't mean. She wasn't distant exactly. She just became private, more protective of her time, more careful with her words. She stopped oversharing with me, stopped ranting about coworkers, stopped asking for advice. Instead, she'd sit on the couch scrolling through her phone for hours, smiling at things I couldn't see. When I asked what was funny, she'd say, "Just memes," then turn the screen away. She also started staying late at work more often. At first, I believed her. She had just gotten a promotion, more responsibility, more pressure. It made sense, but then it became constant. 3 nights a week, sometimes 4. Dinners alone became normal for me and my son. I tried talking to her about it. I told her I missed her, that I felt like we were drifting. She hugged me and said I was imagining things, that life was just busy, that we were still strong. She even joked, "You're not getting rid of me that easily." I laughed with her, but something in my stomach felt wrong. A quiet warning I kept ignoring. She also started taking better care of herself. New clothes, new makeup, gym membership. Suddenly cared about her appearance, even on work-from-home days. When I complimented her, she barely reacted. When other men did, I noticed her smile linger. The first real red flag came when our son asked me why Mom always took her phone into the bathroom now. Kids notice everything. I laughed it off and said she probably just liked watching videos in peace. But later that night, I paid attention. She'd take it everywhere. Shower, laundry room, even outside to check the mail. It never left her hand. I started feeling stupid for not seeing it sooner. The discovery happened because of a forgotten jacket. One night, she came home late and rushed straight to bed, saying she had a headache. Her jacket was on the kitchen chair. I picked it up to hang it and felt her phone inside the pocket. It was vibrating, over and over. I told myself not to look, that real men trusted their wives, that snooping was wrong. But my hands moved anyway. I checked the screen. A message preview popped up. "I still feel you on my skin." My heart stopped. I unlocked the phone without thinking. Same password. Our son's birthday. The messages were graphic, intimate, loving. Months of them. Hotel plans. Lunch dates. Complaints about me being emotionally absent. Photos she never sent me. Photos meant for him. My vision blurred. I had to sit down. When I confronted her, she didn't scream. She didn't deny it. She just whispered, "I never wanted you to find out like this." That sentence destroyed me, because it meant she never planned to tell me. It wasn't a mistake. It was a strategy. Then she said she felt neglected, that I worked too much, that I was always tired, that she needed to feel wanted. I reminded her I worked for us, for our family. She said, "I didn't ask you to." And just like that, 15 years felt meaningless. After that night, our house felt like a stranger's place. Same walls, same furniture, same photos on the shelves. But nothing felt familiar anymore. I walked through the rooms like I didn't belong there, like I was visiting someone else's life. She tried to act normal the next morning. Made coffee, packed our son's lunch, asked me if I wanted eggs. I just stared at her and wondered how someone could destroy you emotionally and still worry about breakfast. When I brought up the messages again, She sighed like I was being inconvenient. Said, "We already talked about this." We hadn't. She had blamed me. That was it. Over the next few days, her story kept changing. First, it was just emotional. Then it got physical once. Then it was a few times. Then I don't remember. Every version minimized her responsibility. Every version protected her image. None of them protected me. She promised it was over. Swore she blocked him. Deleted everything. Offered me her phone. Gave me passwords. Told me she would do anything to fix us. I wanted to believe her. For our son. For our history. For the life we built. We started counseling. She cried in every session. Talked about feeling invisible. About losing herself in motherhood. About being overwhelmed. The therapist nodded sympathetically. Sometimes I felt like the villain for being hurt. Like I was supposed to move on faster. At home, she'd tell me how proud she was of us for fighting. Meanwhile, I was drowning. 2 months later, I found out she lied again. Not because I was searching. Because she was careless. A receipt came to our shared email. A hotel. Same one mentioned in her old messages. Same city. Same dates as a work conference. My hands started shaking. I called the hotel pretending to be her assistant. They confirmed her stay. 2 nights. Double room. When I confronted her, she snapped. Said I was stalking her. That I was obsessed. That I was toxic. Then she admitted it. Yes, she saw him again. For closure. To say goodbye. One last time. I laughed. I couldn't help it. It sounded so ridiculous. She was using the same excuses every cheater uses, and somehow still believed them herself. After that, something inside me shifted. I stopped trying to convince her to love me. Stopped trying to compete with another man. Stopped trying to be better. I started waking up early and going for walks alone. Sitting in my truck after work instead of rushing home. Reading books at night instead of watching TV with her. Building emotional distance without even meaning to. She noticed. She accused me of checking out, of punishing her, of giving up. I almost told her the truth. I wasn't giving up. I was protecting myself. Around that time, I finally told my best friend everything. We'd known each other since high school. He listened quietly, then said, "Man, she's using you." That sentence hit harder than any insult. Using me. For stability, for money, for parenting, for reputation, while getting excitement elsewhere. I went home that night and looked at her differently, not as my wife, as someone who benefited from my loyalty while breaking it. One evening, our son asked why Mommy and Daddy didn't hug anymore. I locked myself in the bathroom and cried. That was my breaking point. Not the messages, not the hotels, not the lies. That question, because it meant our broken marriage was hurting him too, and I had allowed it to continue. That night, I opened a separate bank account. I didn't tell her. I just knew I was preparing to leave. Once I opened that separate account, everything became more real. It was like crossing an invisible line. Before that, leaving was just a thought, a fantasy I used when things felt unbearable. After that, it became a plan. I started paying closer attention to our finances, not to control her, to protect myself. I realized how much money had quietly disappeared over the past year. Restaurants I'd never been to, gas stations in cities she claimed she hadn't visited, online purchases I never saw arrive, gifts that weren't for me. It felt like discovering another betrayal layered on top of the first. She hadn't just cheated on me emotionally and physically. She had financed it with our family's future. Around the same time, I made another mistake. I checked her iPad. It was synced to her phone. She rarely used it anymore. Probably forgot it existed. The messages were still there, not just with the same man. With someone new, different name, same tone, same intimacy, same lies about being unhappy at home. Reading them felt like déjà vu, like I was trapped in a loop I couldn't escape. She wasn't confused. She wasn't lost. She was repeating a pattern. And I was the constant she felt safe betraying. Instead of confronting her immediately, I waited. I wanted to see how far she'd go. How easily she'd lie. One night, she told me she was going to a team dinner. I said okay and kissed her on the cheek. Then I followed her. I hated myself for it, but I needed proof I couldn't ignore. She drove to a small restaurant, then got into another car, a man's car. They drove away together. My hands were shaking so badly I had to pull over. I sat there for 20 minutes, staring at nothing. Then I went home. When she came back, I was sitting in the living room, lights off, waiting. She jumped when she saw me. I told her what I saw. She denied it, said I imagined it, said I was paranoid, said I needed help. Then I showed her the photo I had taken. Her face collapsed. She started crying, begging, promising. Again, same cycle, different man, same script. I felt something inside me go completely numb. That night, I slept in my truck, parked behind a grocery store, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the ceiling, thinking about my son, about the example I was setting, about the kind of relationship he might accept someday if I stayed. I realized I was teaching him that betrayal was normal, that disrespect was something you tolerated, that love meant suffering quietly. I couldn't do that to him. The next morning, I called a lawyer. I didn't tell her. Not yet. Calling a lawyer felt like stepping into another life. I sat in my truck in a parking lot, staring at the dashboard, phone in my hand for almost 10 minutes before I finally pressed call. My voice sounded strange to me, like it didn't belong to my body anymore. Calm, flat, like I was talking about someone else's marriage. The lawyer listened patiently, asked practical questions, explained my options: separation, custody, assets, child support, mediation, words I never imagined would be part of my vocabulary. When the call ended, I just sat there in silence. It hit me then. This was real. I wasn't thinking about leaving. I was leaving. When I told her I wanted to talk that evening, she knew something was wrong. She kept asking what it was about. I said we'd talk at home. She barely ate dinner, barely spoke. After we put our son to bed, I sat across from her at the kitchen table and told her I had contacted a lawyer. Her face drained of color. Then came anger. She accused me of blindsiding her, of plotting behind her back, of betraying her trust. I reminded her of every lie, every hotel, every man. She said I was exaggerating, that I was dramatic, that I was destroying our family over mistakes. Mistakes. Plural. Casual. Like she was talking about forgetting to pay a bill. Then she changed tactics. She cried. Hard. Said she was broken. Said she hated herself. Said she'd do anything. Quit her job. Change her number. Give me full access to everything. Move cities. Start fresh. I had heard all of it before. Every promise sounded familiar. Recycled. Empty. I told her quietly that I didn't trust her anymore. That I couldn't live like this. That I deserved peace. She said, "What about our son?" That almost broke me. Using him as a shield. As leverage. I told her that staying in a toxic marriage wasn't protecting him. It was hurting him. A week later, I moved into a small apartment not far from his school. 2 rooms, cheap furniture, second-hand couch, folding table for a desk. It wasn't much, but it was mine. The first night there, I barely slept. Not because I missed her, because everything was unfamiliar, but also lighter. No tension, no fear, no wondering, just quiet. I started rebuilding my routines. Taking my son to school on my days, cooking simple meals, going for runs in the morning, slowly learning how to live without constant emotional chaos. She kept trying to pull me back. Texts, calls, long emotional emails, apologies mixed with guilt trips. You're tearing our family apart. You promised forever. I'm changing. Why won't you fight for us? I stopped responding, not out of cruelty, out of survival. Every conversation reopened wounds. Every message dragged me backward. My therapist helped me understand that boundaries weren't punishment. They were protection. The divorce process was exhausting. Meetings, documents, negotiations, She delayed things whenever she could, missed appointments, claimed she wasn't ready, said we were moving too fast. I stayed firm. For the first time in my life, I didn't let her emotions control my decisions. Each signature felt painful and freeing at the same time. After the divorce was finalized, I expected my life to fall apart. 15 years of marriage, gone. Shared dreams, gone. Daily routines, gone. I thought I'd feel empty, lost, broken. Instead, I felt steady, not happy, not sad, just stable. Like I had finally stepped off a roller coaster that had been making me sick for years. My apartment slowly started to feel like home. I bought real furniture, hung photos of my son, set up a small workspace. I learned how to cook more than 3 meals. I started sleeping through the night without waking up in a panic. My friend said I looked healthier. My sister said my voice sounded lighter. I didn't even realize how heavy I had been carrying everything until I put it down. A few months later, she reached out again. A long message. Apologies. Regret. Promises. She said therapy helped her understand herself. That she finally knew why she sabotaged relationships. That she missed our family. That she wished she could go back and do everything differently. She asked if there was any chance we could try again. I stared at that message for a long time. I felt nostalgia, sadness, a little anger, but no hope, no longing, no desire to return. I replied politely. I told her I hoped she continued working on herself. I told her I wished her well, and I told her I wasn't coming back. Blocking her afterward felt like closing the last door to a house I no longer lived in. My relationship with my son improved in ways I never expected. Without constant tension in the house, we both relaxed. We laughed more, talked more. He started opening up to me, telling me about school, friends, worries. One night, he told me he liked our new life because everyone seemed calmer. That sentence alone made every painful step worth it. I realized staying for the kids would have been the worst thing I could have done. Now, almost a year later, I'm not afraid of being alone anymore. I've dated a little, carefully, slowly. I've learned that real love doesn't come with anxiety. It doesn't make you doubt your worth. It doesn't require you to ignore your instincts. Healthy relationships feel boring in the best way. Predictable, safe, honest. And that's exactly what I want now. Looking back, I understand that I spent years trying to earn loyalty from someone who never planned to give it. I confused sacrifice with love, patience with weakness, hope with denial. I stayed because I was afraid of change, afraid of starting over, afraid of failing. But leaving didn't make me a failure. It saved me. If you're reading this and you're stuck in a relationship full of lies, secrecy, and broken promises, please hear this. You cannot fix someone who doesn't want to be honest. You cannot love someone into respecting you. You cannot destroy yourself to keep someone comfortable. Walking away isn't selfish. Sometimes it's the strongest, healthiest choice you'll ever make. I thought losing my marriage would ruin my life. Instead, it gave me a second chance to live it.